Good morning class. I am from group 2 and I will be presenting on the harassment part of our topic. I will be assisted by my AI pals. I will be speaking on the root causes of harassment, also the main types of harassment, and on other matters of the topic, the legal implications of sexual harassment and harassment. So let's begin.
The root causes of harassment are complex and varied. Here are 10 possible reasons why harassment occurs. Prejudice and discrimination. Harassment is often rooted in prejudices and discrimination based on such factors such as race, gender, religion, sexual orientation or disability. Power imbalances. Harassment can happen when there is a power differential between the harasser and the victim, such as a supervisor and an employee. Lack of consequence. It can create a culture of impunity that allow harassment to continue. When perpetrators of harassment face no consequences for their actions. Entitlement. Some individuals may feel entitled to engage in harassing behavior, or to treat others poorly. Inadequate policies and procedures. Organizations that do not have effective policies and procedures in place for reporting and addressing harassment may inadvertently encourage such behavior.
Toxic workplace culture. A toxic workplace culture where harassment and bullying are normalized or even encouraged can create an environment where harassment is likely to occur. Lack of awareness. Some people may not be aware that their behavior is harassing or inappropriate and may not understand the impact of their actions. Personal issues. Some individual may engage in harassing behavior due to personal issues, such as stress, anger, mental health problems. Cultural norms. In some cultures, certain types of behavior or attitudes may be considered acceptable that are considered harassment in other cultures. Lack of education and training. Without education and training on what constitutes harassment and how to prevent it, individuals may not understand the impact of their actions or how to intervene when they witness harassment.
At this point, I will now give you the main types of harassment you might encounter as a CSW wherever you will be working in Canada.
Racial harassment. Racial harassment involves unwanted behavior that targets an individual or group of individuals based on their race, ethnicity, or national origin. Sexual harassment. This was dealt with in details by the other speakers. Verbal harassment. Verbal harassment involves unwanted common surlanguage that is meant to intimidate, belittle or degrade another person. Physical harassment. Physical harassment involves unwanted physical contact or behavior such as pushing, shoving or blocking someone's path. Cyber harassment. Cyber harassment involves using electronics devices and social media platforms to harass, threaten or intimidate someone.
Religious harassment. Religious harassment involves unwanted behavior that targets an individual or group of individuals based on their religion or belief system. Bullying. Bullying involves repeated, intentional behavior that is intended to harm or intimidate someone, often in a school or workplace setting. Disability harassment. Disability harassment involves unwanted behavior that targets an individual or group of individuals based on their disability or perceived disability. Age harassment. Age harassment involves unwanted behavior that targets an individual or groups of individuals based on their age. Retaliation harassment. Retaliation harassment involves unwanted behavior that is directed at someone who has filed a complaint or taken action against harassment, such as demotion or termination.
Some legal implications of sexual harassment and harassment. This can have serious legal implications for both individuals and organizations. Here are some legal implications of sexual harassment and harassment as read by my colleague in Canada. This is taken very seriously. 1. Civil liability. Victims of sexual harassment and harassment can sue the perpetrator and/or the organization for damages. This may include compensation for emotional distress, lost wages, and medical expenses. 2. Criminal liability. In some cases, sexual harassment and harassment may be considered a criminal offense. Depending on the severity of the harassment, the perpetrator may face criminal charges and potential imprisonment. 3. Discrimination claims. If the sexual harassment and harassment are based on a protected characteristic such as gender, race, or religion, they may also be considered discrimination. 5. Retaliation claims. Employees who report sexual harassment and harassment are protected from retaliation. If an employer retaliates against an employee for reporting harassment, they may face legal consequences. 6. Compliance risks. Organizations that fail to comply with federal and state laws related to sexual harassment and harassment prevention can result in fines and penalties. It is important for organizations to have effective harassment prevention policies and training programs in place to prevent sexual harassment and harassment. It is important for organizations to take sexual harassment and harassment seriously and to have effective policies and procedures in place to prevent it. Failing to do so can have serious legal, financial, and reputational consequences. Most of these types of harassment is covered in the Canada Human Rights Act.
In conclusion, sexual harassment and harassment are serious issues that can have a profound impact on individuals and organizations. While sexual harassment is a specific type of harassment that is based on gender or sexual orientation, harassment can refer to a broader range of behaviors that are unwelcome and create a hostile work environment. Both forms of harassment can lead to significant negative consequences for victims, including emotional distress, decreased job satisfaction, and negative impacts on work performance. It is very important for you as a CSW to understand this. It is important for organizations to take a proactive approach to preventing and addressing harassment by implementing clear policies and procedures, providing regular training and education to employees, and fostering a workplace culture that promotes respect, diversity, and inclusion. By doing so, organizations can create a safe and supportive work environment that encourages employees to report incidents of harassment without fear of retaliation, and that supports victims by providing them with the necessary resources and support to recover from the harm caused by harassment. In closing on the topic sexual harassment and harassment, Mr. Abraham spoke on the definition, Ms. Melanie spoke on the root cause, Ms. Tennille spoke on types or traits, Ms. Claudia on treatment and support, Ms. Juliet spoke on awareness and prevention. I spoke on the harassment part of it and the legal issues. We hope you have learned how to deal with these issues as a CSW as you may encounter it in the workplace. Thanks for watching and listening.